All right. Uh, I am officially back here in the world of Tiny Rogues. I want to do a couple of things. Number one, I've just recently been getting back into this game. It's had a couple of updates since I last played it. Number two, they're supposedly fairly close, fairly close to a new update, new major update. We've been on this update for a very long time, and I actually have faith that the major update will happen. It's a very enjoyable game. I'm getting close to having at least one win on every character, which was kind of my long-term goal. And then I think after that, maybe I can go for finishing all of the Steam achievements. But I wanted to do a couple of things. I still intend to do runs on every character, but I wanted to do like a beginner's guide, because I've learned a little bit about how the game has changed, and I kind of want to give people some information for that. And then after that, I'm going to go through, I've got maybe 5, 6 characters left to get a win on. But to start, I'll just walk through some of the basic features of the game. I've already unlocked all the classes. This is where you figure out how you unlock each of them. World tier is something that happens as you finish runs. These are more goals that they tell you about, and these give you various unlocks. This is your starting gift. Now, there's a lot of interesting choices here. Starting with bombs, I don't really see the purpose to anything in this top row, actually. Starting with bombs, starting with keys, maybe very early in the game is decent, but you get bomb and key rewards all the time. They're high priorities for me, so I don't touch these. Gold, you hit a pawn shop, you're good. Curse, I find that I get a lot of curse stones that undo curse very often. Armor repair, not really worth it. Scroll of escape, I've never even used. A tent, there are situations where that's useful. Compass, if you're trying to do big speedruns, I can see this being a decent option. I haven't really started doing any speedruns. Golden spatula is an interesting choice. Random gift is just random. Broken hero sword is something for one of the Steam achievements. I want to get to this eventually, but it's going to wait for a little while. The one that I always, 100% of the time, pick is the dice case. Dice are very powerful late game options to get you the DPS or the equipment you need to get through the late floors. Enemy health takes a very large jump every floor later on in runs. You can use dice to re-roll traits early on to set your build, and then later on you can re-roll floor rewards, re-roll room rewards, re-roll boss rewards, and that kind of locks in the ending of your run. So I always do the dice case. And I'll go through each of the dice once we get into the run. And then we have Cinder. Now, I'm currently running Cinder 0. At some point, I'm going to have to start doing Cinder 16. I wanted to finish runs on all of the characters before I started doing this. You have to complete runs with certain amounts of Cinder to unlock everything. I've been undoing all the Cinder just to have more relaxed, laid-back runs. Then we get to the campsite. Now, in terms of information for beginners, your goal is to max out your available points as quickly as possible. You add Cinder modifiers to level up faster. You defeat bosses to get experience, and that levels up your campfire. You want to get it up to 30 as quickly as possible. There are some easy Cinder modifiers that can help with that. This one, Double-Edged Sword, is fairly easy to me. An extra 25% health on the boss shouldn't matter. Your goal is to have enough DPS by the time you get to the boss to melt through them anyways. Starting weapon having a negative enchantment, just get a new weapon. The early floors are very easy. Enchanted enemies are annoying. I tend to stay away from that one. Stamina recovery speed. You don't really need stamina on the early floors, so this one is fine to me. Hate Unjust Incentive, I stay away from this one. Guardian Automatons, I try and stay away from. This is one a lot of people recommend doing. Monster Jam I haven't really touched. Reapers are kind of scary. They normally only show up if you're cursed. They have a chance to show up. I stay away from them. Arch Nemesis. I don't really remember if I've gotten into this one at all. This makes enchanted enemies even more annoying. If you're going to run either of these, don't run them together. Don't run Occult Grounds with Calamitous Visions. Defensive measures is okay. The 20% chance isn't the worst. The defensive modifiers usually aren't too bad, but they can be ugly. Ebb and Flow. This is an easy one to throw on for if you're trying to get a Cinder 8 run done for the unlocks. You know, at the end of the day, it's the same amount of rooms. The later floors having more rooms can be annoying. Hopefully you've got a build by floor 9, floor 10 that a couple extra rooms doesn't hurt you. Twice Enchanted. Once again, this stacks with our enchantment modifiers. You don't really want to run this with either of these two. I dislike infected enemies, so I stay away from Pestilence. Conqueror's Will, not the worst, not the best. 20 seconds is kind of a, you know, shorter end for boss fights. And then Centurion, I've never had too much trouble with Centurion, so I've done this one before. If you're in the middle of a run and you don't really have a good build together, this can end your run very early. But anyways, that's the Cinder modifiers. Last thing I'm going to go through is the campsite things that I like to pick. And why I pick them, and then we'll just get into a run with one of the starter classes, and we'll see how far I make it. Generally, the very far ends of this skill tree are the most powerful parts. So we'll just go to the north first. Extra Flask is nice. Shortcut, I hate. But it does allow you to kind of get your starting trait early, kind of determine a build early. Normally that takes me a while to get into. Larger rooms is nice. I don't really go for either of these. The main thing that's important is the secret rooms, which I pair with something else that I'll get to in a minute. And Double Trouble, less mimics but appearing in pairs. This also pairs with something else. 2 mimics at one time can be very powerful. Smash and Grab is a very good one that also pairs with another one that I'll talk about in a second. Just kidding. The dice. The arcade, if you bomb the arcade, it normally drops a few dice. You double your dice drops. Now you've massively increased your dice box. These up here, it is very rare that I end up with 2 of one alignment and not 2 of another. I'm usually entering armories to... not armories. I'm usually entering black markets to sell things, to buy things. That gives me evil. I like doing the good bosses. They're the most entertaining bosses to me. Events sometimes give you good. The tavern can give you good just for interacting with the people there. So I try to stay away from that one. The alignment requirements, I never struggle reaching the alignment requirements, so that's not a huge problem. And then superstitions. I don't like the random alignment. I like to choose my bosses. So I stay away from basically this entire top section. I stay away from the left section. Trait rerolls, if I'm running the dice box, I don't need to worry about trait rerolls, so I stay away from all that. Other ones I actually pick. +1 luck early on, very nice. Secret rooms being highlighted, very necessary for me. Secret rooms, if they're not highlighted, are nearly impossible to find. They're usually on the edges of rooms. Bombs are so useful to me. You need a bomb to open a secret room. I don't like just wasting bombs on trying to guess where random secret rooms are, so I need Treasure Hunter. Let's see. Thief in the Shadows, +1 magic find for that reward is pretty nice. Completing an entire floor without taking damage is very difficult for me, especially later floors. The +1 reward, usually not a game changer, so I don't go for this one. And then I don't go for any of the floor 10 upgrades when I'm on floor 10. The tavern might honestly be nice, have an extra breathing room or shop or event. But floor 10 you're trying to get through as quick as possible anyways. Let's see. Boss rewards. This is a very important one. It pairs with our dice. We'll see if I get late enough in the run if I can show you what I do with this. But boss rewards that guarantee an item of a rarity now guarantee that rarity or higher for all items offered. You'll get boss rewards that say you guarantee at least one epic item, at least one rare item. This means that all of the items you're offered are epic or rare in that case. Whereas for this one, weapons or equipment type is usually less important to me than the quality items. Enchanted enemies being slightly weaker is nice, versus encountering fewer of them. Let's see, anything else that I care? I don't really care about the floor 1 rewards either. If you're trying to do a specific run, like I might get rid of this and turn on the companion reward if I were trying to do an only companions run or something as a challenge run. It's nice to get early guarantees of these things. We'll go south next because it's the shortest. Additional armory on floor 3. Floor 3 is around when you kind of want to be making sure you upgrade your weapons. Taverns being guaranteed on 3 floors is great. You know when taverns will appear. If you're hurt, you can make an educated decision. If I get really badly hurt on floor 3 or on floor 4, I might want to think about using up my flasks early on, taking more survivability options, taking items with block. Whereas if I get hurt on floor 6 and I haven't hit the tavern yet, I know I'm going to hit a tavern. I can just heal at the tavern. Not an issue. 25% chance for the black market. Black markets are just nice. Guaranteed vendor for selling items. Guaranteed interesting items to work with. Specific black market stuff, not super important to me. All this stuff down here, Enchantress, not super important. You could just reroll. Legendary enchantments are nice, but it's not worth getting these tavern upgrades to me. The tavern is so easy to reroll. It's cheap to reroll that I don't see the need for any of those. Then we come down here. Either you guarantee that every armory has a weapon with an enchantment, or weapons and armories never have negative enchantments. I go with that one because negative enchantments can just be kind of annoying. It really doesn't matter which of the two you go for. Royal Descent, Royal Armories, always super nice. So I just like having as much chance to get them as possible. Lastly, we got this right wing. This one is kind of the most detailed. Healing rewards when you're low health. Nice. +1 revive. Super, super useful. It has saved so many runs for me. And it's very close to the start of... I think this should probably be one of the first things you go for. Dice rewards. Golden dice, red dice, ethereal dice. Ethereal dice are what you use to reroll your traits. Red dice, you reroll the upcoming room rewards. Golden dice, you reroll the room you are currently in, the rewards it gave you. If you're on a boss floor, you don't like any of the boss rewards, you drop a golden die, and it rerolls all of the rewards for you. I go for the ethereal dice because the traits are the #1 most important thing for your build. The gear kind of comes secondary. Some people might disagree with that, but that's how I see it. Minigames, arcades, double E common, I like that. I don't see the need for either of these. Aquarium I was running. Fish give you permanent boosts, but they're usually super small, like 5% stamina recovery speed, 5% attack speed, or 10% attack speed. I don't actually remember what it is, but they're small, so I don't really see the need for them. Let's see. What's most important? This is interesting if you start a build and your weapon complements your build. This gives you a higher chance to continue complementing that build, basically. It can mean maybe you've been running swords for a really long time, melee weapons, and you start taking traits for magic weapons, but you just can't get a magic weapon to drop. Could be because of this. Let's see. Magic Find is nice. Open treasure chest early enough for that. And then I like having more common legendary items, and I like legendary weapons getting enchantment modifiers, because the legendary enchantments are always really nice. And then, anyways, that's kind of all I need to talk about. I don't go over here. Bulk Seller used to be really good. You used to be able to get infinite gold or absurd amounts of gold with it. It's kind of been nerfed a little bit, but it's still fine. And then a lot of this is blacksmith upgrades, shop upgrades, not usually super important for me. So that was a lot of talking. I'm going to go through a run on one of the early classes. I guess I'm not really sure which ones you start unlocked with, because last time I started playing this game was ages ago. I'm sure you start with the... Yeah, progress beyond floor 1. I'll start with the knight, because people will get this very early on. One of the changes that's happened since the last time I played this game is that every class now has an ability that uses mana. I very rarely use the abilities on the classes I've played since the update. But, you know, each one always has an intrinsic passive as well. So the knight deals extra physical damage per armor container you have. This will lead you to try and lean more into your armor containers. And then Guard Bash, deals striking damage in a cone, clear the area of enemy projectiles. That could be pretty nice for boss fights, actually. If you're in a really hairy boss fight, clear the projectiles. So, that's nice. We'll take a look at his gear when we get in. The general goal for this, after I've just spent, 20 minutes talking, is to give you some tips and tricks for playing the game. Press F to open your inventory. You gotta manage equip load. Every item contributes to your equip load. And you got a bunch of different slots. You can also access your dice bag here. This is usually the starting dice rotation. You can also press G to open it. And, we've just got very basic gear with a couple pieces of armor, which actually works nicely with our armor buff. Inventories down here. Charms go down here. These are auxiliary to your build. They basically never determine your build. They're just things you look out for when you have a build going. Ton of information over here. You've got hearts. These can be refilled with these flasks down here. Soul hearts are these kind of bluish ones. Cannot be refilled. When you lose your heart, goes away. Armor can be repaired with armor powder. Block only recharges at the end of every floor. Stamina's here. When you dash with the space bar, it uses 1 stamina, and then you'll see it recharges on the left. One interesting thing to note is that if I dash, and then I dash again, I lose the stamina recharge progress. This gives you some iframes, invincibility frames, so it's good for a surprising amount of invincibility frames, by the way. You can dodge a significant amount of attacks off of 1 dodge. Mana's here. This uses your skill, and if you press C, you'll open your character chart, you'll see your skill. And it tells you how often it refills. So a mana will refill every 11 enemies defeated. That is my preferred mana refill. A lot of characters refill every number of floors. That is annoying to me. And it also tells you the cost of the mana, the charge time, how much damage it does, etc. You'll notice here it says it covers a larger area while wearing a shield. That is something it did not tell us in the character screen, so that's good to know. Because I am running a shield. This down here is your very, very detailed information stuff for all of the different types of stats. I'm not going to go through much of this except for where you can find important things. Your alignment is necessary for some of the final bosses. You find it on the general tab right in the middle. Your current stats you see right here, and then what those stats give you. Strength gives you top end damage and equip load. Dexterity gives you attack speed and movement speed. This is my least favorite stat to build into because these are not phenomenal things to get. Then intelligence gives you crit chance, very nice. And mana recovery, less nice. So I usually end up trying to go for strength and intelligence because the crit chance is just that nice. Other important things, you can see your critical hit chance on the offense tab and your critical hit damage. And then you can see all your different damage modifiers down here. Defense kind of just tells you the same information you have up here. And then miscellaneous, the main thing I look out for here is luck and lucky hit chance. Lucky hits, you essentially when you hit an enemy, you roll the damage twice, and it takes the higher damage option. Curse and cursed hit are the option. It'll roll your damage twice and take the lower option. Getting curses can be detrimental. It can downgrade room rewards. It can spawn stronger enemies. But there are builds that build into curse. That's another thing to look out for. Tipsiness, you can drink alcohol to give you temporary buffs. Your limit of 3 means you can only drink 3 different drinks before that happens. And then, yeah, that's kind of all the important things I want to talk about here. And then these are where your traits will go. You will get one at every level. Max of 6. So that's a lot of talking. You right-click to use your ability. You left-click to use your equipped weapon. You can have 2 weapons equipped at one time, and you can change between them with the scroll wheel. Hold down the left-click to attack. And then we'll get into, I guess, the gameplay. You'll usually have 2 options of rooms. Treasure Rocket drops rewards when bombed. I have no bombs here, so I'm going to go for the gold. Now, very early on in a run, I like to build up my bomb inventory and my key inventory. This is a very interesting choice for me. Getting cursed early on can be very annoying. It might not be until floor 3 that I can get uncursed. 5 bombs, 4 to 5 bombs is actually very nice. I am going to curse myself just so we can see what our options are for uncursing. Maybe we can see some of the negative curse effects happen in real time. This is a very interesting choice. Souls are what you use to upgrade your character to buy things in special shops. I'll go for the souls. I really want keys and bombs early on. So like here, 10 gold or 1 key, I'm going to take the key. And we have yet to have curse. You can see there was a little purple skull next to my attack. That was a cursed hit. It means my attack was rolled twice, and it took the lower value. Now I have bombs. Treasure rocks can usually be pretty nice. We'll go here. And we will press Q to drop a bomb. And we got a new weapon. It has +3 to upgrade level, so it's just a straight upgrade. It doesn't attack as fast, but the damage numbers are much higher. So it's a very interesting choice. Early on, I'm going to go for the dice. Red dice reroll upcoming rooms. Ethereal dice, your traits when you level up. Golden dice, current rewards. Obsidian dice let you change out a trait you don't like late in a run, maybe, for a trait you do want. So we're going to go for dice here. We really want red dice and golden dice. A couple of red dice is nice. The obsidian dice is actually nice. Don't really care for the ethereal dice. And I'll usually take food over gold. Food upgrades your stats. It leads you to level up. It gives you experience. Because gold can be found very easily at pawn shops or through other means. I think I'm going to go for the treasure rock again. I usually try and keep 2 bombs. Oh, I screwed up there. I could have dropped a bomb here and opened both the secret room and the rock. Now I'm going to have to use a second bomb for the secret room. But as I was saying, I usually try and keep 2 bombs and 2 keys. If I get below that, I prioritize those options later in the run. We have plus attack speed per stamina. This is just a straight upgrade to our DPS for now, so I'll take it. And if we don't like it later, we can sell it. And then we get to our first boss room. We are guaranteed either at least 1 offhand item or at least 1 accessory. I currently have an offhand that I like very much. It's giving me block and armor, so I'm going to go for the accessory. Then we get to our floor 1 boss. Lost in the woods, eh? I will show no mercy, he says. The Goblin King. You'll see that big red circle on the ground shows where he's going to attack. You can dodge through that, and it will not damage you. Ooh. And very easy boss fight. The first few floors, the boss fights are super easy. They start to get a bit more bullet hell around floor 4 or 5, and then the floor 9 to 10 boss and beyond. Very scary. Now, we saw that little pink spark show up. That was my magic find from my campsite. That means that I got a slightly upgraded reward here. It's a helmet that gives bonus physical damage. I'd like to keep the armor because the armor both shields me and boosts my damage off of my character trait. This is a charm. Mana recovery would help our skills recharge faster. But we got a rare reward, and rares early on are usually very rare. On dash, your next 5 attacks or skills deal sneaky hits. If I hold left shift, I can see that sneaky hits have double critical hit damage. This is a very niche item. I have not hit a critical hit yet. This is not very useful. Unless the sneaky hits are guaranteed critical hits. I guess we will see. I doubt it, though. But I will pick it up because if it's proving to be worthless, rare items sell for a good amount of money at pawn shops. And that's our first floor done. Floor 2, still very easy, very straightforward, very hard to get hit. Consumables. I could get... I'm coming up against a lot of very difficult decisions here. I want to start building my intelligence. But I could get a curse cure from this. I'm going to go for the intelligence. I kind of want to level up. Maybe by the end of floor 3 so I can start figuring out what my build's going to be. I'm actually feeling pretty happy with my weapons, but an uncommon weapon will probably sell for a decent amount of gold, so we'll see what there is. Chance for weapons to repeat. If you get a trait that boosts your repeating attacks, this can be very good. Inflicts fear, plus 50% to damage taken roll. That is nice. But daggers are usually fairly annoying for me, personally, to use. And then this is just attack speed. Throwing items usually linger for a while, so you can get a lot of DPS out of them that way. I'm going to go for the repeating crossbow because... You see how it did a little double there? If I get a repeating buff, then it'll just be nice to have. And I only have 1 bomb. Not really worth it for me to use it on food. Something tells me this is going to be more of a ranged boss killer than an ad clear crossbow. Wow. So this is another dash-based item. On dash, gain 1.2 times melee damage for 8 seconds. That is nice. It does put us over our equip load. You can check your penalties here. Those are actually pretty severe. So I'm going to take these off for now and put them on when it's more reasonable. I could take off the armor and put these on, but this is basically a 20% DPS buff, and this is a 20% DPS buff when I dash, whereas this is all the time. And we're going to go for the food item. Don't really have a lot of gold, but it is just a safe room. We'll see what there is. Stamina recovery speed, not really useful. This is a set item. If you get... Each set item has an effect you get just for wearing it. But you can also get a set bonus if you have multiple items from the same set. So this is an Oktoberfest set. You see if you have both of them, you get lucky hits per stack of tipsiness. I obviously have no tipsiness. I haven't found any alcohol yet, and alcohol wears off, so I'm not even going to bother buying that. I couldn't afford it anyways. And this would unironically be decent, but I can't afford it. So, good thing we came in here, huh? And we'll go for the dexterity and the continued intelligence building. This is our first level up. On skill used, grants Berserk, gives you attack speed and movement speed. I'm obviously not really using my skill much. Don't really plan to. After having not attacked for 2 seconds, your next attack grants you Courage, an 8-second attack speed buff. Not super useful either. And then we have down here, Crushing Hit Chance. Crushing hits deal the guaranteed top-end damage of whatever weapon you're using. There are some weapons that range from like 100 to 1,000 damage. Guaranteeing 1,000 every time, very nice. Only at close range. Only for ranged damage as well. I don't like any of these options. I'm going to burn one of my ethereal dice right now. So this is a good example of early build options. Your critical hit chance is 0, but you get guaranteed crushing hit chance. This is a very nice thing to build for. I think I'm going to forgo it this time around. Every 4 seconds you trigger your on-dash effects. I have multiple items in my inventory with on-dash effects. This is very nice for me. And then lastly, Exclusive Force. Your attacks gain a 40% chance to trigger an explosion on hit that deals explosion damage. If I were building into explosion damage, this would be nice. I could get items with very high attack speed. I'm going to go with this one, though, because we're already getting some on-dash stuff, which means I'm now going to swap out this with this. And we should see somewhere here an emotion buff. I guess maybe only when we're in battle. We're going to go for the key because I don't really feel like burning one on food. Now you see that they have the book, but they're not crits. That one was a crit, and you see how it did an absurd amount of damage. You can see over here we have an emotion buff that should refresh every 4 seconds. Look at that. So now I just do 1.2 times melee damage. That's very nice. I really don't feel like getting cursed again, even though 3 intelligence would be very nice. We're going to go for the golden chest. We're going to open it. And we got some gold. We got some gloves. Plus mana. I'm going to take these to sell them later. And then we get here. I don't like either of these options. I'll go for the offhand, because we already have an accessory that I feel like I'm going to be keeping for a very long time. The sneaky hits, if I can get into a crit hit build, very nice. And we're on the floor 2 boss, the Lich. Now, something that is kind of a true constant in every bullet hell roguelike is you want to watch your character more often than you're watching other things in the environment. Now, I'm not overly pleased with the DPS here, but it does allow me to be farther away from the boss and incredibly, incredibly safe. Ooh. Was not paying attention, though. But the range damage is not getting my melee damage buff, so probably not worth it. I only took a hit of suppression damage, which refills every boss fight anyways. Yeah, you could see it here on the Greaves. I'm getting one from the campfire as well. And we got a few different rewards here. We have a quiver. This is good with bows and crossbows. I'm running a melee build with my boots right now, so I'm going to avoid this. We have another quiver, a set quiver. On the tally of 3 bow or crossbow attacks, trigger an arrow flurry. If I were to swap into a bow build, this would be very nice. Bow's usually dexterity, though. And then we have an accessory that gives plus 30 power. Wow. Power is just a flat percentage boost to damage, so that is very nice. I'm going to pick up the set item. I could have picked this up to see if I eventually would want to replace my Fox Ring, but I'm running the on-dash build. There are other accessories that have good on-dash effects. Doesn't really make sense to take the belt. We're going to go for the wooden chest, because I get a bonus magic find. You'll see that these enemies took a very healthy health jump here. And I'm now having to spend a lot more time avoiding attacks. I just used up my block and one of my shields. I'm really showing how much of an expert I am at this game, huh? Bone Enchanted. This is a room enchantment, and it kind of messed me up a little bit there. Now, we could get a Cursed Blessing, which would curse me again. Or we could just go check out what our weapons are. Echo stacks once and buffs damage a little bit. This is a two-handed instrument, which means it would disable my offhand. Don't really like that. Each point of dexterity grants this weapon extra crit damage. That is kind of nice if I were building dexterity. I don't really like either of these options. We'll just go with that one. And we'll go for the strength. A nice rule of thumb, this is kind of similar to something like Enter the Gungeon. Moving in squares. I gotta stop talking while I'm in these rooms. Moving in squares is a pretty good general strat, moving around the edge of the room. A lot of enemies have projectiles that will track you, and if you move near the edge of the room, you can get them to run into the walls. I'm very disappointed in myself so far for losing this much already. And we could blow a key on a melee weapon. We could blow a bomb on fish. Fish are permanent buffs, and I kind of like the idea of opening that. Now you'll see this fish just got cursed. That means it's going to be much more expensive, which is not ideal. Damage against bosses is nice. Movement speed is kind of less important to me. 17 gold for 10% elemental damage. I can do both of the ones that I want. And so I will. It's going to cost basically all of my money. But I'm going to eat both of them and get some permanent damage buffs. And then we're not really running magic, so we'll go for the intelligence. And we're here on floor 3. We have our tavern. These are basically safe rooms. You don't have to worry about taking any damage here. The medic, the nurse, I believe I take the campfire that makes it so she always spawns here. This just means you're guaranteed to recover when you get here. Princess, she enchants. She gives a fairy tale branch with the arcane modifier. That feels less valuable now that it's harder to get more mana containers than it used to be. She gives something that recovers your stamina. And then we have down here the black market. This is going to allow me to sell some items I'm not using. Not using the mana gloves. 9 gold is nice. Not going to use the short sword. 8 gold. Not going to use the dagger. 17 gold. Very nice. I'll hang on to the quiver. I'm tempted to hang on to this until I get some more equip load. But just from selling things here, I did gain some evil. So that is something to keep in mind if you don't want to get evil. Companions are things you can summon. I'm not going to buy any of these because... Wow. I might buy that jellyfish, actually, because they can apply shock, which just boosts damage taken from the enemies. It boosts the damage the enemies take. Stamina, not very important. And then we have our gun seller. Having an epic gun in an early store is actually very interesting. Disintegration is a very, very interesting buff as well, and this gets bonus at disintegration damage. I almost want to buy this instead. Attack speed of 1, not very fast, so I think I'm going to avoid it. And we'll go with the jellyfish. Yeah, well, whatever. We're going to do an event. There's all sorts of random events. This is a fishing event. We can catch some fish, get some more permanent buffs. If I end up with duplicate fish, that will be slightly unfortunate. Starfish, plus 10 mana recovery. It's permanent. It's free. I'm happy with it. And we got some tuna, permanent critical hit damage. That's very nice. And you'll notice if we try and catch a third fish, we'll get a bite, and the rod will break. Now you see here the benefit of that campfire choice. Every item from this boss is going to be at least rare. That means it could be epic. It could, if we're very lucky, be legendary. Probably won't be. Floor 3 boss. And you'll notice some doors. These are not things that are generally present in early game runs, if I am remembering correctly, and if things have not changed. These are things that unlock when you get to higher world tiers, but I'll go over what they are. I think my general assumption is that you've, done some leveling up here. And we're into phase 2, and you'll notice I didn't even use my companion item. Just losing some DPS. We're really feeling the damage crunch, though. You'll notice that I dodged there, and I was invincible for a significant amount of time. So that's nice. Looks like we got 3 rare rewards. Or this might be a set reward. I'm colorblind, so that might be green. Got a rare offhand that improves poison duration and toxic effects. Not running that right now, so we'll avoid that. A helmet that gives you bonus cursed hit chance. If I were running a curse build, this would be very interesting. And a set helmet, Inquisitor mask. Gives you bonus aura radius and makes your auras deal more damage. I don't have any auras right now. I'll pick this up in case I get the other piece once again. Now I already have one evil. I really prefer the good bosses. I'll pass through the evil shop, see what it has, and we'll just have to buy out the good shop next time. Damage at close range is nice. Ranged damage. Flat ranged damage is very nice. Wow. Couple good options here. I'm going to go with the damage at close range because I'm currently running a melee build. Interesting choice here. Do I want the extra critical hit chance or do I want a chance at a better melee weapon? I do only have 2 keys. Wow, I'm going to go for the candy, although I am really at the point where I need to get a more viable damage option. You'll notice the sparkle on the floor. Once again, this is a secret room. If this wasn't sparkling, my only hint would be that it is shaped like an X. You can kind of see it there. When you're moving through rooms very quickly, you're not always seeing that. So, and we have rare weapons coming up. Good thing I skipped that chest. We had a garnet bracelet. Each point of strength grants 1% to your damage roll. I am not getting as many strength power-ups as I want. I'm getting a lot of intelligence and dexterity, but pick that up in case I get a lot of strength later. Now that's unfortunate. We have an item that got cursed because I still haven't cleared my curse. A throwing weapon with very low damage gets bonus damage per upgrade level. I mean, I've said before that throwing weapons are very underrated. The dagger's the one that got cursed. You see it has a crappy minus 10 damage. 100% chance for attacks to repeat. Do I want to gamble that I'm going to get something about repeating attacks? We'll see. Then we have here 100% lucky hit chance. An instrument with lightning damage. It's magic. It won't get our melee buff. But the 100% lucky hit chance. And it inflicts shock. We are going to see... Ooh. That is very slow. We're going to go for the meat. This feels like a good boss DPS option. It buffs my damage. It's got good lucky hit chance. Not a great add clear weapon. Not quite accurate for the smaller targets. And we got a pawn shop. We'll see what we have coming up next. To see what we can get rid of. Gosh, can I get rid of anything? We'll get rid of this. Probably not getting any repeating attacks. Probably not speccing into the crossbow since I just sold it. Still want to keep this for if we get some more strength. Obsidian dice for 16 gold. Very nice. Repair powder would repair my armor, but you'll notice here, about to have a blacksmith that'll do the same thing for the cost of a bomb. Is that worth 9 gold to me to skip that? I actually think it might be, because I don't want to waste my bomb. I am going to get the obsidian dice. I am going to get the repair powder. I'm going to use it. I accidentally just used my upgrade stone. Use the repair powder. And we will avoid using my last bomb for now. Woo. We're going to avoid opening this. Golden chests are usually just gold and maybe some consumables, maybe an item. And our second level. Skill effect per intelligence trait. We don't really have a skill that we're affecting. Chrono Shift gives 100% tick speed after you use a skill. We're not really using our skill, and tick speed is not usually important. You'll see there it modifies the rate of any effect with a tick tag. We're not really running anything with a tick tag. And some companions that grant attack speed. We're going to pick this one up out now and potentially re-roll it with an obsidian die later. The attack speed is just a DPS buff. But it's not something I'm super passionate about. Now we get some ethereal dice here. This is a very easy minigame. Starts under the right cup. Really is like baby's first minigame. And we'll get some ethereal dice out of it. So now we can re-roll future traits much more. We're going to go with a body armor here. Floor 4 boss, the vampire. This is where the boss fights start to get just a little bit more hairy. You generally want to strafe around this guy to avoid that arrow. He, in phase 2, is going to transform into a bat and fly towards you. That's where you have to do a lot more management of the projectiles in the room. So I might actually use my skill here. I should have been using that more often. It cleared all of the projectiles in front of me, and it did a lot of damage to the boss. Ooh, an epic item. Our first epic of the run, and it's gloves. So we have a rare body armor. We recover hearts when we defeat a boss. We get bonus damage for missing hearts. Don't really like that one. My attacks gain a 35% chance at close range to trigger splatter that deals a lot of physical damage. You'll see our close range radius. This is this inner pinkish one here. And then, so anything within this radius that we hit, which is basically the range of this weapon. And then we have a charm that gives us +3 strength. Would be tempting for me if I didn't have this. The problem is my equip load. We might take off the offhand for a little while until I can get some more strength, because strength is what buffs your equip load. We're gonna go for bombs here. I just really ran into that. There's basically no excuse for that one. Plus strength. Wow. Things are getting very hairy for me. Alright. Whew. Don't really want to lose strength. Still not quite at the point where we can put that on. We have some very nice top-end damage. It's just not consistent. And we got a cursed reward. Petrified Heart. These are some of my favorite things to see show up in the runs. You'll notice here these guys have tracking projectiles. You kind of have to lead them into a wall. And now we just have +1 heart for the rest of the run. I do think I will be going for the intelligence here. Dexterity, not a super necessary stat for me right now. And this is still doing okay work, so we're going to go for the continued intelligence gain. I guess we're doing a critical hit build, potentially. We'll see. Go for the key here. Continue to build my key inventory. Notice how much smaller the range was on that skill usage because I'm not running the shield anymore. So this is a situation where I am going to swap out the gloves for the shield. I think... Ooh, I should have done that a floor earlier. It's not currently attuned to me, so I don't get the buffs. Bit of a blunder on my part. I forgot that items need to be attuned to you to get their effects. You'll notice that all of these are not attuned, meaning if I were to equip them, I wouldn't get their effects. That's unfortunate. We'll just have to hope I'm good enough to beat this boss. Probably not changing the boots. I really don't want companion items. But we could get a broken one, who knows. I just didn't want to reroll the rewards there. Waste the die. I believe that I should have gotten the dodge there. But it didn't give it to me, so what are we going to do? Lot of thinking. So much thinking that I didn't see him coming right towards me. I'm gonna take a potion here. Dang. Just did not dodge in a good direction there. And I didn't dodge soon enough there. Wow. We're gonna have to burn some souls on recovery now. I might make it to the tavern. We'll see. We'll see. So we got a couple rares and uncommon. We got a chicken. Triggers on attack effects. I don't have any of those. We got a goblin that gives me bonus dexterity and lowers my strength. That's just terrible for me. And we got a jackalope that gives me bonus lucky hit chance. I think I unironically prefer... Yeah, I think I prefer the jellyfish we already had. So we'll just have to sell the jackalope when we get a chance. And now I get to decide how important it is to me to save souls. Because I could come to this campfire here and fully recover for 10 souls. Or I could save the souls and go for the tavern. We know that there is a tavern on this floor. I'm going to gamble. If it blows up in my face, so be it. This is a very hairy floor for taking accidental hits. Very dangerous prospect. But we get a level up. Another addition to our build. Don't have any lucky hit chance right now. You can wear an offhand with two-handed weapons. Two-handed weapons also count as one-handed. This can be very nice. I'm going to take this. If I have to change it with an obsidian die, I will. What I really need, we can put this on. Flat DPS buff. I'll have to wait a floor to get the effects. And there's the Inquisitor set. Gives bonus aura damage. If we ever get an aura upgrade, those mostly come from the traits. If we ever get one, we're going to be sitting very nicely. On attack. Would have been nice to have the on attack effect now. Rock music, which does inflict echo. Wow. Could get the Vorpal Blade, gives me supersonic bonus attack speed with the Vorpal Blade when we use a skill for 8 seconds. Could get the Clockwork Hammer, plus 10 tick speed per upgrade level. I'm gonna go with the Guitar Axe. Just double check that this is actually what I want to go with. We're going to get rid of the instrument we were using, and that's a very nice thing because these things coming out will probably track. Wow. Good choice by me. Look at that. Now, if we could get something with an on-hit effect or an on-attack effect, the build would really keep coming together. This is going to be very good for mobbing. Now, unfortunately, all of our rewards from this Mimic set were weapons. Bonus damage against bosses, we'll take that. A bow that can trigger lightning bolts. Wow. Let's see, what can I drop? Let's see. Won't pick up that. Won't pick up that. We will drop... I guess I don't need the companion. I was about to sell him anyways. We will grab the Stormcloud and see what we can get from that. And now we can just sell everything that we're not planning on using. Doesn't really feel like I'm going to get enough strength for that to matter at this point in the run. I think we'll get rid of this too. For all I know, that could have been the greatest weapon in the world, but we're getting rid of it. And we'll see what to buy with the money. Red dice, 21 for 3 of them. Very valuable items. Bombs, 2 of them for 12, we'll do that. Bonus intelligence for 15. If it hadn't been cursed, I would have considered it. With it being cursed, not great. And we made it to the tavern. I get the heal. And then I will reroll to hope for the curse vendor. He's not here. I will reroll again. Wow. Unlucky. And we are now no longer rich enough to afford the dice. Normally, always buy this. Just unfortunate. Okay. We will move on. Repair our armor. We're too broke to upgrade. Don't really need a new weapon right now, so we'll go for the gold. And that is the Reaper. Only has a small chance to show up if you're cursed. And he is a very sinister opponent. Very tanky. I just lost my shield again. We will go for the body armor here, see if we can get an upgrade. Would be very nice to upgrade my carrying capacity. A couple of ways we could do that. We could get a shrine upgrade. We could... You get some of those upgrades once you're past floor 10. I gotta lock in a little bit, sorry. I'm gonna clear a path there with the skill. Dodge through some other ones. Really was hoping to avoid that. Thought I would sneak in there. Evidently did not. And we have some ghost ships that are making things very, very fun for me. Holy cow, this is turning into a behemoth of a run. Let's see. Body armor. I don't like orbitals. Bleed is nice. I'm going to skip that. Boots that make me count as standing still. Only works with certain traits. Going to skip that. Puppeteer mask gives you bonus stats from companions. My companions right now are giving me attack speed and stacks of shock. Not really very useful. All of these kind of suck. I'm going to go with the thing that'll probably sell for the most if I get to a pawn shop. And as I promised earlier, we will clean out the good shop. We have basically no charms. Wow. Bonus crit chance, very nice. This, I wish I could show you. It makes our close range farther away, which goes nicely with this. You can see that. Makes our far range closer. So it just means you get those bonuses easier. And we are going to buy this. Recover a heart when you defeat a boss. Just nice if I... That's kind of first on the chopping block for me. If I find a better charm, that one's going away. But it is a nice thing to have if I beat a boss and took some damage. Don't need to recover anymore. Gosh, I'm really starting to feel the crunch of the equip load, though. Starting to feel the crunch of my own inability to dodge these projectiles. Oh, we're going to prioritize dice again. I suppose my boots are doing nothing for me right now. I am not... I'll have to double check. This says it counts as an instrument. I wonder if it gets the melee buff too. Can't really tell. Golden dice is nice. Obsidian dice, very nice. Intelligence and strength, very nice. Need that equip load. I mean, we're just getting everything I asked for, you know? My whole Christmas wish list. I really hesitate to keep building. The crit chance is nice. It is literally never wrong to build crit damage. Arcade, we get to show off the arcade. I do have a bomb. The arcade, you can take 4 rolls at it. If you take a 5th, it explodes. So what I like to do is do 4 rolls and then do a bomb to blow it up. You'll see why. So we got a soul heart that time. We won something. We didn't get anything that time. Nothing the third time. Oh, I think you can only do it 3 times. If I blow it up now, we get nothing. If you blow it up before it short circuits, you get dice. Unfortunately, I'm a fool. I could curse myself even worse to get a couple keys, which I don't need, or I could refill all hearts and flasks, which I also don't really need right now. Not great room rewards. I could have considered using a red die to change the room rewards. Wasn't really that necessary to me. Some strength. Infusions are kind of like pine resin in Dark Souls, if you're familiar with that concept. They give your weapon an elemental buff for 10 floors. When I last played the game, there was a trait that made both potions and infusions permanent. Oh, we'll talk about this in a second. There was a trait that made both potions and infusions permanent. Might have been 2 separate traits. I have seen the potion trait recently, makes potions permanent. I have not seen the infusion trait that makes infusions permanent. This is a good reward. All rewards are going to be epic or better. That means there's a chance they could upgrade to legendary. I will not burn any golden dice this early on, but it is just nice getting epic items. Woohoo! Wow. Very unfortunate hit to take there. I'm just not doing a good job of keeping my armor. Wow. But if you're going to use it, boss room's the room to use it. I'm getting very thirsty. So, no upgrades to Legendary, but we'll see what we get. An accessory that gives you bonus lightning damage against burning enemies. We're not doing burning or lightning really all that much. Our jellyfish are doing lightning, but whatever. Companion capacity would be interesting. Or we could get speed boost. Speed boost gives you movement speed. I don't like any of these. We're going to burn a golden die early. I might live to regret that, but we'll see. The epic reward is just too nice. And we got 2 legendary upgrades. That's huge. So we got some gloves, 20 dexterity. Interesting if I were running dexterity. Enigma armor, +2 armor, +2 weapon level, +2 magic find. That's very nice. Eden's touch, if you have 4 points of gold, +2 weapon level. So do you guys notice the difference between these two? And how this one is just objectively better? Now, this is gloves, and gloves are cheaper. We're going to go with this, and we're going to take off the helmet, because that'll get us below our equip load. And I do not regret using that golden die. Floor 8. We're going to go for the extra strength. And we're still cursed. It has been very inconvenient this run. It's a good example of why when you're considering curse options, you really want to think very carefully about whether you really want the curse or not. I have had many options downgraded. I've seen the Reaper twice. Modifiers to your cursed hit chance also apply to your critical hit chance. Aura. See, now the issue with this, I do have the Aura set, the Inquisitor set. One of the pieces of that set is the Enigma armor that I just picked up. But I feel like running the set. Now, unfortunately for me, I am going to have to attune the set, which means playing a room without my buffs. We're going to go for this here. You can see just how effective that burn damage is before we even upgraded it. And now it's going to have... Unfortunately, we do half attack damage, but our aura has plus 100% damage and 2 times damage and fills the entire room. We're going to go for the infusion because I don't feel like using a key and I don't have a bomb to bomb the chest. We're just going to pick this up and use it right now. And we found a pawn shop. Very rare that I sell legendary equipment. And it really doesn't give you a lot. Wow. Now, I really do want to get this shield back. I need to hit 135 equip loads so that I can get it back. Because the extra survivability is very useful. I'm nervous without it. 3 to 4 dice. Don't even have to think about it. And a secret room. We are going to have to burn a key on that. I'm not overly pleased with the lack... And we got a gold die. Not overly pleased with the lack of bomb rewards. Feels like multiple floors since we've seen a bomb. 9 gold for 10 souls. Easiest trade of my life. Permanent physical damage buff. Very easy. Permanent boss damage buff. Very easy. And we're not really running guns or cannons. So that's all we need in there. Bonus strength, yes please. Trait tomes, we can replace a couple of the traits we're running that I'm not overly fond of anymore. Chill adds 20% chance to take a critical hit. We're not doing chill damage. Burn deals 100% damage and deals damage in an area. So this is a nice synergy option here. We are going to use this. We're going to get rid of my spirit companions. The attack speed, 20% attack speed, not overly useful to me right now. So we will use this, and we will get rid of the ancestral companions. And then I'll pick this up, just in case we get a weapon that I want to be using. Not really worth using the red dice yet. We will go for, I guess, the gloves. Boy, I'm doing really well at this whole not getting hit in the boss fights thing. So now I'm looking to take more buffs on burn damage. I got poisoned from that. That's annoying. I'm gonna heal. That was a big gamble I took, and it did not pay off. I immediately lost out on the heal that I just did and took a second point of damage. And I just burned my revive because I didn't dodge in the right direction. Not ideal. Not ideal. Wow. Well, what are we looking at? Interesting, interesting. Oh, if I wasn't running the Inquisitor set, and modifiers to your attack speed also apply to your bleed. Well, we're not running bleed. Pick up the gloves. 30 power could be nice. We'll see if I feel like doing that. And I don't have a bomb to open the good shop. That's semi-inconvenient. We'll see if there's anything in here worth picking up. The tick speed would be good with our burn now. I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to go for... This is just a flat damage buff, though. I have to remember if power buffs burn as well. Because this applies to more than just our burn, whereas this only applies to the burn. We'll go for the flat damage buff. Ooh, and I didn't recover. That means I'm really banking on that tavern. Yeah, some of the attack patterns on these later floors start getting really scary. Wow! Another level up. This is always a fun one. Not gonna hit this. I'm not really getting anything out of the Titan grip right now. I might change that one. Wow. These are, none of these are very good. This is why we, build up the ethereal dice, though. 28% buff. Just not worth it. Rage on hit. Wow. Bonus attack speed. That is interesting. Very interesting. Kind of looking for something more synergistic, though. Shock aura. Stacking the auras is nice. Elemental balance is fun if I were running multiple auras. We'll do this. This is gonna be very crazy. Epic weapons, easy choice. Frostburn, chill, and shock. Not gonna hit 40 intelligence. Not a big fan of totems. So we will go with this. We're gonna go for the golden chest and hope that it gives me some bombs. Notice how fast everything died there. Yeah, there we go. Couple of bombs. Do I use the key and gamble that the rock gives me a key? I think I do. Unfortunate for me. We're gonna avoid the upgrade for now, because yeah, want to reroll for a curse person. Wow, the luck is just not there for the tavern right now. I guess I got one more. There we go. The cleric. 20 gold, and I don't even have the key to go down here to sell stuff for gold. That's really depressing. It's going to be a very scary floor. A bunch of ethereal dice. That's nice. We'll burn the bomb here. Not worth it. Can say that with a certainty. We're gonna go for the rare item choice. Could upgrade to epic. I do still have a lot of things less than rare that are currently on my build, so a rare charm would be nice. We'll just have to wait and see what we get. Good boss fight. And 3 rares. Body armor. Nope. Although that is a very interesting body armor to have if you get this early in a run. That's very nice. Not good for me. I don't think these are counted as debuffs. They are not. So none of these are good for me. Just grab one to sell later. Still kind of waiting for things to come together for me. It's unreal. I gotta avoid more curse. These enemies here, historically, were some of the most difficult for me to handle. You can get 2 in a room, both going at the same time, and they can, like, squeeze you together so that you get put in trouble. We're gonna take the consumable room and hope that I get a curse stone. I did not. Though there is a small gift box here. Could give us cheese, whatever. And I'm just gonna use this because I don't care about it. Don't have bombs. I'm not getting bombs or keys either. And I wasn't paying attention. We're just gonna go for that. I'm gonna go for the blessing to see if I can get an equip load blessing. Sometimes you just don't even see things and they hit you. Crit chance, crit damage, magic find. Would have loved to go through that door right now with how much damage I've taken on this floor. I'm fortunate this is the 10th floor because I'm going to have an opportunity to rest before I hit the boss. But I don't have my revive, and if I don't make it to the boss... Oh, this is just unreal. Do I feel good enough to take on a couple of mimics? God! Well, that's the run. Yeah, that sucked. I guess the last thing I was gonna say is when I hit floor 10, floor 11, I use the red dice to reroll the boss rewards, and I'm looking for either epic or better or legendary or better. And then if I get the boss rewards and I get legendaries and I don't like any of them, then I can reroll them with the gold dice. But that's going to be it for this. Very long run. They're normally shorter than that. I was doing a lot of talking and thinking. So, yeah. Should, after this, be moving on to the characters that I still need to finish. The Monk, the Jester, the Esper, the Druid, the Dragoon, and the Cyborg are ones that I haven't finished yet, but after that, maybe I'll start doing some speedruns or challenge runs or Cinder 16 runs or something. We'll see. But that's it.